welcome to a great highlight in our annual Liberty calendar, to our annual Fringe at your Lib Dem conference. I hope the fact that it is so well attended yet again is some sign of your continuing commitment to our values at Liberty, our shared values, and some positive signal of continuing commitment in the future.
Breaches of human law are ritually condemned by British governments of all colours when they happen in other countries. But there's a paradox here. We want others to accept and to implement and to observe human rights. But at home, in recent time, we have seen an almost irrational attack, not on particular human rights, but on the very principle.
Put forward. We had a very interesting Fringe about extremism at lunchtime today, where an ex-BNP activist said that, their arguments were simply to go to people and say, well, you have heard about the asylum seekers getting flat-screen TVs, haven't you? And they're all getting free BMWs as well. And those were the arguments they were using. Well, sometimes some of the arguments that are used both against the Human Rights Act and Europe generally smack a little bit of that in terms of how accurate they are.
You get all these phrases, that human rights are for criminals, not for victims. It's the same rights. They just apply slightly differently. That they're. I don't want to have the rights to have somebody else's freedom. It's mine that I want. There are some things where we can make progress if Labour back us. We can help. But if we're the only people standing up for something, it's really hard to get anywhere. So on this bill, we're talking about control orders. Hideous things. And the Labour Shadow Minister said, sometimes it is essential to have people outside the legal framework. That's rather frightening. There is an excellent piece that Liberty produced describing them as Churchill's greatest legacy. Because it was Churchill who had, former Liberal, you may remember, you may have heard of him, who had a really key role in pulling it together. This wasn't Europe saying to Britain, you must be more European. It was exactly the opposite way around. The whole idea was it was us saying to them, this is the British way. These are the things that are British, you should all stick up to that. The idea that we're now trying to say, well, it's not really for us, is really quite terrifying.
I'm very pleased that the Lib Dems are as clear as they are on nothing changes with the Human Rights Act. But not a day, not a week goes by without the Prime Minister of our country and his henchmen, and somebody called them the extremist wing of the Tory party, I don't know who it was, but saying that they are going to replace it with the Bill of Rights. And so far I haven't heard from the Lib Dem MPs what they will do in that situation. It seems to me.
Vote against it.
Sorry, could you say that into the microphone, please?
I'd vote against it. Very simple.
Would it be is it the party or is it?
Party policy. Yeah.
Is it party policy? Okay, well that's reassuring. And the other thing is,
I just say to that gentleman, I'm glad that you have that confidence. We all want to have that confidence, but the devil is always in the detail. And I say to you that you can stay signatory to the ECHR, you can have a British Bill of Rights that completely incorporates the ECHR, but you can take the guts out of the Human Rights Act, which is the enforcement mechanisms, and nobody talks about this. You can have a beautiful piece of poetry called a British Bill of Rights that incorporates the ECHR and adds lots of other rights beside, but you could take away the ability of British judges to enforce it in this country. So the devil is sometimes in the detail. I don't want you or any of your lovely colleagues here today or future generations to be swindled out of their rights protection in this country.